The next morning, I arrived at the Lean Group headquarters before 10. The building cut through the clouds, cold glass reflecting a restless sky. My hands trembled as I entered the elevator, the silence pressing close. When the doors opened, her assistant was waiting. "Mrs. La will see you now," she said with practiced warmth. I stepped into an office that smelled of cedar and old power. Grandmother La stood near the window, her back straight, her eyes sharp. "Sit, Vi," she said, voice steady as stone. I obeyed, trying to hide the storm inside my chest. She studied me for a long time before speaking. "You were never told the truth, were you?" Her question made my stomach tighten. "What truth?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She opened a folder and slid it across the desk. Inside were faded photos and legal documents. Two smiling faces looked up at me, a man and a woman in lab coats. "Your parents," she said softly, "Hao and Min Chao." My throat closed. "My real parents." She nodded. "Brilliant engineers, my closest friends." I touched the photograph, the edges rough under my fingers. "They died in a car crash when you were 6, she continued. "The same year my son adopted you." I blinked, my mind trying to catch up. "He told me my parents abandoned me," I said. Her jaw tightened. "He lied." She pulled out another document, yellowed and stamped. A trust fund agreement with my name, typed across the top. "They left this for you, 1.5 billion dong." My breath caught. "What happened to it?" "It disappeared within a year," she said flatly. "Every record leads back to your adoptive father, Hai." The room tilted, my pulse hammering in my ears. "He stole from me." She nodded once, "and used it to build their lifestyle." Her voice cracked only slightly. I should have stopped it. I stared at the paper, the signatures, the betrayal inked in blue. All these years, I thought I was lucky they took me in. Her eyes softened. "You were never the problem, Vi." She closed the folder with quiet finality. "There's more," she said. "They're trying to take this company too." I looked up startled. "How?" "They've been spreading rumors that I'm losing my mind," she said. "They plan to have me declared incompetent next month." The words struck like cold water. "So they'll steal from you like they stole from me." She smiled, small and bitter. "Exactly." Silence stretched between us, heavy but alive. Finally, she spoke again. "Help me expose them." I hesitated. "Why me?" "Because you're the only one with something left to lose," she said. "Your blood is honest, theirs is not." Her words cut through my fear like light through fog. "What do you want me to do?" "Find proof. They'll deny everything until the evidence burns their walls." She stood and extended her hand. I took it, the air electric with something new. It wasn't revenge that filled me then. It was purpose. And for the first time, I didn't feel small. That night I couldn't sleep, the documents replaying behind my eyelids. Every lie, every smile from that house now tasted like poison. By morning, I knew what I had to do. I tore through my apartment, searching for the metal key I once hid. It was taped beneath the drawer, coated in years of dust. The key belonged to a storage unit I hadn't opened since college. I drove there with shaking hands and a pounding heart. The air inside smelled of metal and memory. Boxes stacked high, labeled with my childish handwriting. Old toys, school drawings, fragments of a forgotten girl. I opened one after another, chasing something I couldn't name. Hours passed before I found a folder sealed with brown tape. My name was written across it in my mother's handwriting. Vi's future. My knees buckled as I opened it. Inside were photocopies of trust documents, dated before the crash. Letters, too, warm, hopeful words from parents I never knew. They mentioned Mrs. La, calling her their guardian angel. They entrusted her to protect me if anything happened. And they wrote, clearly, that the money was for my care alone. Not for others, not for family expenses. Tears blurred the ink as I whispered, "You tried to protect me." I took pictures of every page with trembling hands. Each click of the camera felt like reclaiming a piece of my life. I drove straight to Mrs. La's office, the sun setting behind me. She listened without interruption, her gaze steady and sharp. "Well done," she said. "This is the proof we needed." A man entered the room, her accountant, Mr. Bin. He carried ledgers thicker than phone books. "We'll cross-reference everything," he said. "Every transfer, every lie." The night turned into dawn as we traced the stolen money. New cars, private schools, a beach house in NHA Trang. All paid for with funds meant for a 6-year-old girl. Each discovery felt like both victory and grief. Mrs. La called her lawyer, Ms. Mai, a woman with steel in her voice. "Prepare for confrontation," Mrs. La ordered. "We'll need both criminal and corporate evidence." I nodded, exhausted but alive in a way I hadn't felt before. We spread documents across the table, dates, signatures, receipts. It was a timeline of theft, drawn in numbers and shame. Bin connected the accounts, his pen tapping against the pages. "Here," he said, "your father's company received a transfer the same week." I leaned closer. "That's the week they sent me to public school." He gave a short nod. "Every pattern matches." The truth became undeniable. They had stolen my childhood piece by piece and called it love. Mrs. La poured tea, her hands steady despite her age. "You see now why I couldn't stay silent," she said. I met her eyes, and for once I didn't look away. "Then we expose them," I said. "All of it." Her lips curved into something between pride and sorrow. "This won't be easy, child." "Neither was surviving them," I replied. The room fell quiet, heavy with decision. In that silence, I felt my fear turn into resolve. I wasn't just a victim anymore. I was the evidence they never thought I'd find. 3 days later, I stood in front of the old family house. The lights glowed behind the tall glass windows like a stage set. My heartbeat thudded in my ears as I pressed the doorbell. Mother opened the door, surprise flickering across her face. "Vi, you didn't say you were coming." "I wanted to see everyone," I replied, my voice steady. She hesitated, then stepped aside. The dining room looked exactly as I remembered, perfect, polished, distant. Father sat at the head of the table, wine glass in hand. Lin and Fong flanked him, laughing at something private. When they saw me, the laughter faded. "Unexpected guest," Father said, his tone heavy with warning. "I thought I'd join family dinner," I said. Lin smirked. "Since when do you get invitations?" I placed my leather folder on the table. "Since I remembered who I am." Her smile wavered, just slightly. Father leaned back. "What's this?" "Proof," I said, "of what you did to me." "To my parents." Mother's hand froze halfway to her necklace. Lin scoffed. "Oh, please, you and your melodrama." I slid the documents across the table, the papers whispering like blades. Bank statements, transfers, signatures. Father didn't touch them. His jaw tightened, eyes flicking to each page. "Where did you get these?" he asked, voice calm but brittle. "From the past you tried to bury," I said. "The trust fund you stole, the house you bought with my name." Silence spread like smoke. Fong looked up from his phone, pale and uncertain. "That's not true," Lin said, laughing too loudly. "It's all fake. She's been manipulated." "Then explain the matching transfers," I said. "Explain why every deposit aligns with your shopping sprees." Mother rose suddenly. "Enough, this is family business." "It was," I said, "until you made sure I was never part of it." Father stood, voice low, dangerous. "You think you can destroy us with papers?" "No," I said softly, "with truth." He slammed his hand on the table, wine spilling across the documents. "You ungrateful child," he hissed. I met his gaze, unflinching. "You made me this way." Mrs. La's words echoed in my head. "Help me expose them." I gathered the papers, blotting away the red stains. "Keep the wine," I said. You'll need it when the board sees this. Mother gasped. You wouldn't. I already did. I lied just to watch their fear bloom. For the first time, Father's mask cracked. You think anyone will believe you over me? I don't need belief, I said. I have proof. I turned toward the door, my pulse steady. Behind me, Lynn's voice broke. You'll regret this. I paused, hand on the handle. I already regret staying silent. The door closed behind me with a soft click. Outside, the air felt colder but cleaner. I walked away without looking back. Their house stood bright and hollow against the night. And for the first time, it wasn't mine. The storm started 2 days later, not with thunder, but with headlines. Business heir exposes adopted daughter scheme. Elderly CEO declining, family seeks protection. My phone buzzed nonstop, each alert a fresh stab to the chest. My design clients began to call, voices tight with apology. They didn't want to be part of a scandal. By noon, 3 contracts were canceled. By nightfall, my company's website was flooded with hateful comments. They called me a liar, a manipulator, a gold digger. Lynn posted a photo of herself, crying beside my grandmother's portrait. The caption read, "Love means protecting those who can't protect themselves." Thousands of people praised her courage. I watched the screen until my hands shook. This was their counterattack, swift, brutal, and personal. They wanted to bury me under their version of the truth. I called Mrs. Le, voice trembling. They're turning everyone against us. Her reply was calm, sharp as glass. Then we fight in daylight. She summoned me to her home that night. When I arrived, the house was bright, papers spread across the table. Ms. Mai was there, phone pressed to her ear, issuing instructions. Mr. Bin had brought new financial reports. They're accelerating the plan, he said, trying to control the narrative. Mrs. Le poured tea, unbothered by the chaos. Good, she said. Let them speak first. It makes their lies easier to trace. We stayed up through the night, planning responses, building timelines. Ms. Mai drafted a public statement with legal precision. Mrs. Le scheduled an interview with the national press. She will speak clearly with evidence, Mai said. No emotion, no weakness. The next day, they published the statement online. It included excerpts from my biological parents' will. It named every stolen transaction, every false claim. For the first time, silence replaced the noise. Reporters called for comment, but the Brooks family, my family, vanished. Then came something worse. I returned to my apartment and found the door ajar. Nothing was stolen, yet everything felt touched. My drawers, my desk, even my laptop placement was wrong. They'd been here, searching for something. I called Mrs. Liu again. They broke in, I whispered. Her tone didn't waver. Then it's time to move everything. Reed has a secure unit. Stay with me, she added. It's safer here. That night, I packed my life into boxes. Every file, every memory, every piece of evidence. I looked around at the apartment that once felt like freedom. Now it was a cage they had keys to. When I arrived at her house, the guards were already in place. Private security, cameras, reinforced locks. She was ready for war. Don't be afraid, she told me. Fear is their weapon. I nodded, exhaustion burning behind my eyes. But beneath the fatigue, something else was forming. If they feared me enough to invade my home, we were winning. For the first time, I smiled. Let them come. I was done hiding. The boardroom smelled of coffee and tension. Morning light spilled through tall glass windows, bright but cold. Every seat was filled, every whisper sharp. At 9 o'clock, the doors opened and my father walked in. He looked confident, rehearsed, untouchable. Beside him was a man in a white coat carrying a portfolio. This is Dr. Fan, Father announced. A neurologist here to help us. Help us, the words tasted like poison. He placed a hand on the doctor's shoulder, smiling for the room. As you all know, my mother, been struggling lately, he said. Memory lapses, confusion, poor judgment. Gasps murmured through the room. Mrs. Le sat silent, spine straight, eyes burning cold. Dr. Fan opened his folder, speaking with practiced concern. I've reviewed several recordings of the CEO, he said. They suggest early signs of cognitive decline. The screen flickered to life, showing edited clips. Moments of hesitation, forgotten names, harmless pauses. The lies were stitched so neatly, they almost looked real. When the lights came back on, I could feel the shift. Some board members avoided her eyes. Father's voice softened, falsely tender. We love her deeply, but the company must be protected. I moved for a vote of no confidence. He said it like a prayer, certain of victory. The chairman hesitated, glancing around the table. I'd like to hear from Mrs. Le first, he said. Before she could stand, I rose. If I may, I said, my heart pounding in my ribs. Father frowned. This isn't your place, Vi. It is now, I said. The chairman nodded. Proceed. I walked to the front of the room, every step deliberate. Before you vote, you should see the full truth. I pressed the remote. The first slide appeared. A trust document, my name on the page. When I was 6, my parents died, I began. They left me a trust fund for my education and care. I turned to face them. He took it. Murmurs spread like wildfire. He used that money to buy homes, cars, and vacations. While I went to public school and ate leftovers. Father's smile cracked. You have no proof, he said. I clicked again. Bank records filled the screen. Each transfer traced to his company accounts. This is the proof, I said, and it doesn't end there. Mrs. Le's lawyer, Ms. Mai, entered the room. She handed out folders stamped with official seals. Independent medical assessments, she said. 3 specialists confirm Mrs. Le is fully competent. Dr. Fan paled, clutching his briefcase. And, she added, evidence that Dr. Fan was paid privately by Mr. Hai. The room erupted in whispers. Father turned crimson, fists clenched on the table. The chairman stood, voice steady. This meeting is adjourned pending investigation. Security guards appeared at the door. Mother cried out as father tried to protest. Lynn slammed her hand on the table. She's not even real family, she shouted. Her voice echoed through the silent room. Cameras recorded everything. In that moment, every mask they wore shattered. Mrs. Le looked at me, pride shining behind her tears. The war wasn't over, but the tide had turned. For the first time, the truth had a voice, and it was mine. 1 month later, the board reconvened in the same glass room. The air felt different, lighter, but charged with expectation. Every member was present, eyes sharper than before. Mrs. Le sat beside me, her hands steady on the table. Across from us, my father and his family looked smaller than ever. His lawyer whispered frantically, papers trembling in his grip. The chairman called the meeting to order. This hearing concerns the misconduct of Mr. Hai, he said. I stood when my name was called. The projector flickered to life behind me, glowing white. Board members, I began, you deserve to know the full pattern. Slide after slide appeared. Bank transfers, property deeds, forged signatures. Each one was a wound, reopened for truth to enter. Mr. Bin presented his financial analysis, calm and methodical. Every major acquisition tied to Mr. Hai benefited his personal accounts, he said. Ms. Mai followed, handing out legal reports with quiet precision. These include evidence of forgery and witness testimony, she added. Father's face lost color with each word. Lynn crossed her arms, glaring, her mask cracking. Mother dabbed her eyes, but avoided everyone's gaze. When the last document landed on the table, silence filled the room. Mrs. Le rose slowly, voice clear and strong. I built this company from nothing, she said. I will not let greed destroy it, or my family. She turned toward her son. You stole from a child, hi. You stole from your own blood. His reply came out broken. Mother, Enough, she cut him off, calm but final. You've mistaken inheritance for entitlement. The chairman cleared his throat. The board has reviewed all evidence, he announced. He lifted a paper from his folder. This is the unanimous vote. Every pen scratched across the page. He looked up, eyes hard with justice. Effective immediately, Mr. High is removed as CEO. Gasps rippled through the room. Lynn slammed her chair back, shouting, You can't do this. But no one listened. Security stepped forward as the family gathered their things. Mrs. Liu extended her hand toward me. And Vi will assume leadership effective today, she said. Applause broke out, soft at first, then certain. I stood beside her, feeling the ground shift beneath my feet. Father's eyes met mine one last time, filled with disbelief. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came. They were escorted out in silence, leaving their empire behind. When the doors closed, Mrs. Li turned to me. Your parents would be proud, she said quietly. Not because you won, but because you fought with grace. Her words sank deep, anchoring something inside me. That night, she grew weak, her breath shallow but peaceful. Weeks later, she passed in her sleep, her hand still holding mine. Her will left everything to me, the company, the estate, the future. I founded the La Foundation for children without families. Where power once corrupted, kindness would now rebuild. When the opening ceremony arrived, I spoke beneath her portrait. Family is not blood, I said. It's choice and courage. Outside, sunlight rippled across the lake. I tore a check worth the stolen fortune into tiny pieces. The wind carried them away, glittering like freedom. For the first time, I felt whole. Morning light spilled over the new foundation building. Children's laughter echoed through halls that once held silence. I walked slowly along the garden, the air soft and clear. A year had passed since everything changed. The company thrived, honest and alive again. The foundation grew, helping hundreds of forgotten children. Each smile felt like a promise kept. I no longer looked back with anger. The Brooks family had faded into their own shadows. My father served his sentence quietly. Lynn tried to rebuild her image, but truth never forgets. Mother lived alone by the sea, still pretending nothing happened. I forgave them, not for them, but for myself. Mrs. Li's portrait hung above my desk, her eyes forever steady. Sometimes, I still heard her voice reminding me to stand tall. At dusk, I stood by the lake, wind brushing my hair. The water shimmered gold, endless and calm. I whispered a thank you to the woman who gave me back my name. Family, I realized, is built by choice, not by blood. And peace is what remains when truth finally stops hurting.